The certification tests really ask you to take a broad overview of the platform and understand how the pieces and the capabilities provided on the platform can be used to fit together in order to deliver a solution for a customer.
Certification proves that an engineer not only has that real-world experience, but also has the technical knowledge to be able to be certified and to operate at the level that is required.
What certification offers that experience doesn't is peace of mind. I'm not only talking about self-confidence, but also for our customers. Having us certified working on their projects really gives them peace of mind that they're working with a partner who really knows what they're doing.
Hello everyone, my name is Avishil Singh Kulsi and I'm Technical Director of the GDSC at USask. Welcome to the second last event of the 30 Days of Cloud series. Today we are going to cover networking and security in Google Cloud. Here's a bit about me. I'm a third-year computer science major at the University of Saskatchewan, which is located in the beautiful city of Saskatoon. By saying that, I also acknowledge that I live and work on Treaty 6 territory, the homeland of the Métis. We pay our respect to the First Nation and Métis ancestors of this place and reaffirm our relationship with one another. So let's get started with today's event. So what is the 30 Days of Cloud? So 30 Days of Cloud is a set of events organized by 16 institutions across North America, where members of GDSCs and GDEs cover various aspects of Google Cloud in order for students to build new skills. So here are a few links that are relevant for today's event. So the first one is the Cloud Coach. Let's just open the link and look at it. So the Cloud Coach is where you can watch the live stream, and if you go to the homepage, you can learn more about this event. So the second link is the one that we're going to use today for the lab. So let's just open the link. So it's the Quick Labs link, which is going to take you to this page where you're going to get a tour of the labs that have been running from the last few days. Now, to get a subscription, you need to make an account. So after you're done making an account, you need to come back to this page, follow this link, come back to this page, start the lab, and let it run for like 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm just going to start it up right now, and we're going to come back and look at it later. So the next thing is my favorite, which is the Kumo Space. So there's two ways you can access the Kumo Space. Either you can just use this link or go back to Cloud Coach and click on Community Space. So this is what Kumo Space looks like. You can join it and hang out with other people who are attending this event. Also hang out with our members of the GDSC, and they'll help you answer every question that you have. So let's look at Cloud Coach in detail. Okay, so when you go to Leaderboard, so this is what you see. So here are all the schools that are taking part in the 30 Days of Cloud, and this is what the Leaderboard looks like for now. So just this is a call for us to participate and earn as many badges as possible. And here's the funds that have been unlocked till now. So as you take part, you unlock more funds. So this is all about the leaderboards. Now let's go back to our presentation and move forward. So why are we interested in working on these labs, building these skills? Well, it all comes down to having a career, right? And if you're looking into a career option as a data engineer, data analyst, or data scientist, you might be interested in data, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. These modules are available as part of labs that we have on Quick Labs. So on the other hand, if you're looking for a career in cloud DevOps or cloud engineer or cloud network engineer, you can look at the other three modules that we have, which are cloud computing fundamentals, network and security, which is the one that we are going to cover today, and infrastructure. So let's look at what we have been covering so far this week. So we have covered setting up a network and HTTP load balancer on Monday. On Tuesday, it was the cloud IAM. And today, which is Wednesday, we are going to create an internal load balancer. And for the last event of this series, it's going to be data prep. Now, here's why you should work on these skills. So whenever you go to apply for a job, they ask people for resumes. They ask people for, hey, we want to look at your LinkedIn profile. And this is something that you can put on your LinkedIn profile or on your resume and stand out compared to other people. These skills are literally these skills literally say that you're certified by Google Cloud and you know the stuff. So now, earning skill badges and how to show them, you need to go to your profile on Google Cloud page, which is where you just created an account in the section that I covered before. So you need to head to cloudskillsboost.google and you'll go to your profile. So right now, since you've just created an account, it's not going to be public. Nobody else can see it. So you're just going to click the make badge profile public. It's going to give you a pop-up and it's going to make your badges profile public. So anybody can have a look at it. And there's a link right there in the middle of the page. You need to just share this link with people and they'll be able to see the badges that you have. So it's a great way to put, so it's a thing that you can put on your LinkedIn profile, tell people about it when you contact them. So that is it. That is everything that we need to know before heading into this lab. You're free to leave right now and work on the lab yourself, which is setting up the internal load balancer. Or you can just stay around and watch me take you through it. So let's get started with the lab. All right. So you need to come on this page. So this page is go.quicklabs.com/heystudent. One way you can find it is if you just Google Quick Labs, Hey Student, and this is the first link that pops up. So when you open this page, it's gonna give you a code. Oh, also, by the way, did you remember we started a timer before we started the lab? Let's go back to it and press End Lab. Now, if you submit it, cancel. So when you go to your account, you're going to see that you now have a monthly subscription. So this is what we're going to need to complete all the labs. There are tons of labs. There's a lot of it. It's been going on from the last few days, and you need a monthly subscription to work on these labs. So let's get back to Quick Labs. Now we need to copy this code. We're going to use it later. And let's go to today's topic, which is networking and security in Google Cloud. All right, let's jump into it. Now, the code that you just copied, you need to paste it here and tell the system, I'm not a robot. Well, I'm not a robot. Okay, scroll down, and here are the modules that are available as part of the networking and security module. So the lab that we are interested in today is the create an internal load balancer. So let's just pull it up here. Let's look at it. So before starting the lab, we need to make sure we have a few things ready. So the first and foremost thing is that you need a browser to work this lab in. And the second thing, you need to have is the time to complete this lab, which is obviously the one thing that you need. So we're going to use, so I've been told by a lot of people that you should use this, you should work on this lab in, you should work on this lab in an incognito window. So I'm just going to start an incognito window, and we're going to come back to this later. So the way this works is when you start the lab, it's going to give you an email account and a password. You're going to use this email account and password in a separate tab, which is going to act as a console, and that's where you're going to work on the lab. So let's see what we are supposed to do as part of this lab. So first, we got to create an HTTP and health check firewall rule, which is I'll go into details later. I'll just show you what we are supposed to do, and then we can start the lab. Then we need to configure instance templates and create instance groups. And after that, I think we need to verify them. And so this is all the backend stuff that we're going to work on. The first thing that we're going to work on is the backend. We're going to verify if these work, and then we can start working on the internal load balancer. So we're going to configure the front end, and then at the end, we're just going to test it and see if it works. All right, let's just go back on top and click Start Lab. So the lab is 15 minutes long, and I hope you guys have the time to work on it. So let's just hit start lab, use subscription, the one that we just got by running the previous lab. So click on use subscription. Oh, it's not supposed to happen. I think there is some issue with this. Let me just try this again. I close this using the right account. Let's start lab, use subscription. I think there is some problem with this. Madhusha, can you help me?
I think this is because you've done this lab so many times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
so it's a quick fix. Can you log out of your profile? Do you have another account you can log into?
Yeah, sure, I can do that. Yes.
Yeah, that's the easiest way.
Okay.
So sign out.
Sign out from this account.
Yeah, and then see if you can sign into another account.
Other account, yes, sure. So with Google, I'll use my other account. Sure. I'm not a robot, of course. Okay, so we are back in, and let's just head back to catalog. Oh, I don't think this is the one. This is need to enroll ourselves in the course again. So it's a great way to just show you guys how to do this for the first time. So you come to this page, you enter the code, click on submit, and
so it's another tip I can share with everybody is remember so if you were to go to this link, it's going to show you an introductory lab. The purpose of this introductory lab is to help trigger a free subscription for you for 30 days. So you go to this lab, you run it for 45 minutes. I think we did in the beginning. You'll automatically get 30 days for free. You don't need to do that code that Avi just showed you on Hey Students. You can hit skip or cancel, and it'll take you directly to the labs that you want.
Right. So I'm just going to tap on enroll in this on-demand course. It's the button that you can press, and boom, we are enrolled in the course. So let's just start with the create an internal load balancer lab that we have here. So I think I've gone over what we are supposed to do throughout this lab. So let's just click on start lab. I'm not a robot, and I think we need to run the tour first. I think we're just gonna copy this.
No, let's try it again. No, I mean let's
try it again.
No, let's go back to the other lab. Okay, right now you made another mistake. The other mistake you made is you have another account that you're logged into. So click on. Hold on, calm down. Click on your profile. Click on your profile on the right. Okay, so you have 0 credits.
All right.
Refresh this page.
Refresh this page.
And then go back to Hey Students.
Okay, go back to Hey Students.
Refresh that page too.
Refresh this page.
Okay, now say copy the code.
Copy this code.
Let's go enroll.
Enroll. Paste the
code again. Okay. Now this code, by the way, for those who are listening in, this is a temporary code. You don't get 30 days for this. It's just a temporary 9 credit code. If you want to get the full one, you got to use the other method that we showed. So hit submit.
Okay.
Now click on your profile first.
It still says 0.
Yeah. Because you have another profile open, I think. Go to all the way to the beginning.
Should I?
All the other tabs.
Should I just close them?
No, just first check the tab. Okay, that's the same tab. What's the first tab you have?
That's the presentation, and that's Discord.
Okay. So I think you have another profile open somewhere.
Should I just do this in incognito window?
Yeah, you can do that in incognito too.
Sure.
So this is the hardest step with quick lab that you're ever going to run into. So once you get this right the first time, then you should be fine.
So let's just do it. Right. So
So you still
page
need to log in.
opens up. Yeah. So I'm going to copy this and click on enroll. So paste this code here. Submit. Right. Now I'm going to click on join. So it's going to ask me to create an account. I'm going to use the account that we were using just now.
They want to show you all your accounts there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now click the credits. See whether you got credits. There you go.
It's working
Now
now.
you got 9 credits.
I think this is what I heard before. They told me that there's some issue with the credits, so it's recommended that you do these labs in an incognito tab. So, all right. Now we're back in track. Let's go to create an internal load balancer. The lab is 50 minutes. Let's hit start, and we need this other tab. We don't need it for now. So let's click on start lab. It's going to launch. Click on launch with 7 credits. For you, you can just use the subscription that you have, the monthly subscription, if you have gotten that. But if you just created an account, it says 9 credits, then you can just use the credits. You'll get a subscription later. So let's just wait for this to start. Until then, I can just tell you what to do. So you're gonna open Google Console in a different tab, and then just use this account and start working on the lab itself. Should I refresh this page, Madhusha? It's taking a bit longer than expected.
This is to start the lab, right?
Yes, this is.
Yeah, give it a refresh, see how it goes.
Sure.
And then the other thing is, with your regular Chrome tab that you had open,
Yes.
always cleaning up the cache helps. Because remember, you switched between 2 accounts, and that's how the system is like, oh, which one should I assign this to, kind of thing.
Sure. I'll just close all the tabs that we have open in the background because we don't actually need them. So let's just close all of it. Let's go back to our create an internal load balancer, start lab, launch with credits. Let's wait for this to start up now. Oh, this is not working for some reason. Let's just try to figure out what's wrong.
I think it's not using the right load balancer there.
Yeah.
Okay, so while it's running, don't panic. Let's go back to your other account on the regular Chrome tab that you had.
Okay. Okay. This is here. So should I go back to the?
Yeah, let's go back to Hey Students. Yeah.
Let's go back to Hey Student and start at the lab right here. Don't need the code. Oh, we need the code.
Let's yeah. Hold on a second. You're going too fast. Hold cancel. Cancel for a second. Check the profile. Click the profile.
It says 9 credits.
Okay, you still have 9 credits, right? So
yes.
You're good. So now you hit the section you want to go.
Okay. And should I close the one that's running?
No. Just let it run.
Okay. All right. So click on Start Lab.
That lab, yeah.
Okay. Launch with credits. Let's just wait for this to start up. This is a bit weird. Should I use some other browser?
No, I think it gotta be a cloud thing. So hold on one second. Now let's switch back to
the other
incognito one. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Still there. Okay. Is that it?
Verification expired. It says.
Okay. Click on I'm not a robot.
Yeah. Yeah. 7 credits.
Keep hitting it. Okay, close this. Close just this tab, not the whole thing, just the tab.
Just this tab.
And then go back to the other one on the regular Chrome tab you have.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not running either. Okay, so refresh this one and try it again.
Okay, refresh this. Start lab. Launch with 7 credits. This is not working for some reason.
Let's try a different lab in the same category.
Sure.
So you will run into issues like this, and I don't know, maybe it's the instance.
Let's do this one.
Avi, just slow down. Let's go back.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
Yeah.
Okay, which one were we trying to do?
This is the create an internal load balancer.
Okay. And instead, we want to do HTTP load balancer with Cloud Armor. Is that the one you want to do?
Like,
Okay.
if you're not doing the internal load, I've never done this before though. So I think, how about I try some other web browser? Is that going to work?
I don't think it's going to help. That lab is still trying to get in there, right?
I think it is in the background.
Now go back to, okay, so did you close the first tab? Okay, you refreshed that.
I think there was an instance of terminal running in the background, so maybe that was preventing it to create a new lab. Let's just try this again. Maybe it's going to work.
Everybody on the chat, put your comments, because you're going really fast too, and you are a robot. So that's why they're like, the system is like, oh, somebody's trying to, because you've already done this lab multiple times.
Yes, I have.
And that's why it's triggering. Anybody in the YouTube stream, you can put your comments here to let us know how you are getting ahead with this. Okay, it should take a little bit of time, not this long. I wouldn't panic until it times out.
I'm not panicking either. Yeah. Still have a lot of time, but
while this is running, right? Because the other thing you gotta understand is that the code didn't give you it didn't detect, it didn't take the credits out, right? So that means it hasn't been triggered. Okay, so now what we should do, so do you want to do one more thing then? Do you want to try going back to your original profile with the monthly subscription?
Sure.
And then see what you can, but let's do it in a different browser.
Let's do it in a different browser. Okay. I'm just going to fire up Brave. I think I still have Brave. Yeah, still have Brave. Let's go to QuickLabs. Let's go to. So you want me to copy this code?
First log into the platform.
There's no login. I don't think we can log in right here.
You just hit enroll. You just hit enroll anywhere.
All right. So
okay, now you just cancel and then sign in.
Sign in, right? Yeah. Sign in with Google. Use. I was not expecting this much of trouble before. We gotta do the verification as well. I'm really sorry for all the people who are watching.
I mean, this is good, right? Like, these are things that they would go through once they go through the lab as well. So this is the hardest thing, if you are listening in, is that getting access and getting. So now you have a subscription. Oh, let's try it.
So I have the one with the monthly subscription, and let's try the lab again. So create an internal load balancer.
Okay.
Click on Start Lab. Use subscription. Sorry, your code is going to see for this lab.
Okay, can you do another lab instead?
Like
actually,
I don't think I'll be really
Okay,
comfortable with
in
I'll
that case, let's do what we did before. Let's log out of
switch the
your
accounts.
this profile, and then try the
Okay. Sure. Okay, sign in. And I'm gonna go to I'll sign in with some other account. Should I create a new account then?
No. Just sign in with the one that you signed in before. The one you had 9 credits.
Okay. Let's see. Things are not going good today. It needs to go to that section where it says that we need to sign in with the Google account, but it's signing me in with the account that I use.
So this is the Brave browser.
Yes, this is.
Okay, so log out completely from the Brave browser. Close the Brave browser. Open a new one.
Oh, should I close it? Okay.
Just if you have to do a new one, that's not a problem.
So open Brave browser.
Okay. Now you go to log out of this first.
Okay.
No, log out of the Quick Labs profile. There you go.
Okay.
Again, now
And
sign in.
click on sign in again. Sign in with Google.
Yeah, the other account you had that you got 9 credits for.
Okay. I think it's just gonna take me back. Like it's gonna sign it in itself. Do you want me to try like a private window on this one?
Why does it? Okay, sure. Does it have an incognito option?
Yeah, it does. This is like the incognito alternative for this. Quick Labs. Well, it's punishing me for practicing this lab so many times. No worries. I think it's going to work this time. So let's hit sign in. Sign in with Google. And hopefully this works. So cancel and click on my account. Still has 9 credits.
Okay.
Go to the lab that we are supposed to do. Create an internal load balancer. All right, fingers crossed, people. Let's see how it goes this time. Start lab. Launch with 9 credits. Oh, perfect.
Yay!
It's running.
Yay.
Yes, we are in.
Yeah.
All right, now it's my time to shine. Right, so from here on, you just need to create a new. Oh, so it's gonna do it for you. So when you click on Open Google Console, it's gonna automatically put in the account that you're supposed to use. So let's sort the windows on the screen. So you just you just need to click Next and copy the password that it gives you, and put it in. Click on Next, and it's gonna log. Oh, terms and conditions. Accept that. It's going to ask once more for the terms and conditions. So accept that again. Oh, this is the Google console, by the way. So yes, I do agree to the terms and conditions. Perfect. And we're in. So let's just scroll down and see what we are supposed to do for this lab. So we have done the setting up part. I'm just going to set this on the side. Perfect. So the first thing that we have to do is create firewall rules. Now this is going to let the firewall know that we're going to give some calls, and you just need to let them through. So one is going to be for HTTP, which is the main call from the client side, and the other one is going to be the health check, which is going to make sure that everything is working correctly. So the first one is setting up a HTTP firewall rule. So you scroll. So this is the navigation menu, top left corner. So scroll down, go to VPC network and VPC networks. So first, we're going to have a look at what we are working with in this lab. So when you scroll down for this lab specifically, there are 2 subnets that have been created for us on the US Central 1 region. Now we're going to use these to build instance templates, and then we are going to use them to build instant groups. which are going to be our instances, and that's our backend. So we're starting with the backend, and these are the VPC networks. Now we need to create the firewall rules. Now the lab wants us to look at these two rules that have been created before for this lab specifically. So anything that says my internal app is what is just limited to this lab. So we're going to create two new rules. So the first one is going to be HTTP rule. So all the instructions are in the template. You just need to follow the template as closely as possible to make sure that you don't run into any errors. So let's copy the name from here, paste it in the name section. Next thing is network, since we are doing this just for the lab. So we're going to click on network and select my internal app. Now, the next thing that it wants us to do is targets. So we're going to use target tags. Target tags is just going to tell that, okay, we're making this rule for just this specific thing that we are supposed to do in the future. What thing it is, we don't know yet. We're gonna know later. So we're just gonna copy this LB backend. LB stands for load balancer. Press enter, and the source filter, the source IP address that we are going to use for this is 0.0.0.0. So you could use IPv6 for this, but we're just going to stick to IPv4 for now. Right. Now the next thing is allowing protocols and ports. So for protocol, we're going to use TCP and just open port number 80 for all the calls to come in. Perfect. That's it. We just click on create, and the rule it's initializing for now, and it's going to be up and running in a few seconds. So we still have to create another rule. This is the first one. This is going to be for the inputs from the client side. Now we have to create another rule. So click on create a new firewall rule. Now this one is going to be for the health checks. Now health checks have two different source IPs where they can come from. So I'll get to it in a second. Let's just name it app allow health check. And the tags, the network tag is again going to be LB backend. LB stands for load balancer again. And the IP ranges, IPv4, stick to IPv4 for now. So you don't have to copy this entire thing at once. You just copy the first the first range, press enter, it's going to create a range. And then you copy the second one, copy it, paste right here, press enter. So it's going to be two different ranges, sets of ranges. Right, and that is everything. The protocols and the ports, we need to make sure it's taken in from TCP. And since there's no port specified, we can just type in all and create the rule, because health checks can be from any of the ports that we have available. Right. So these two rules, firewall rules, have been created, and this is our first checkpoint. Click on check my progress to know if you're headed the right direction, and you are. So the first thing, we are past the first checkpoint. Now the next thing that we got to do is create instance templates, and then we're going to use those instance templates to create instance groups, which are going to be our instances, the virtual machine instances. So first thing we got to do, create an instance template. Now where to find the instance template? You scroll. You don't have to scroll. It's right here. The compute engine, you go up top. It says instance templates. Click on that. So at first, there's no instance template. So you gotta create a new one. And everything is, all the details have been given to you in the template that we are using for the lab, the instructions actually. So the name is already there. We just need to change the series of processors we're going to use for this one. I think this is probably because they don't want us to use a lot of their resources, since this is just a lab. We're not actually working on anything. Now change the processors, don't change anything else. Scroll down, you get to the management, security, disk, networking, sole tenancy section. Click on that. And there's just one thing that you need to change. So when we are going to create this instance, we need something to initialize it. Now we're going to use a startup script, which is going to be a shell script. Now the name of the script, it goes into the key section, and the link to the script goes into the value section of metadata. Now this is this is under management, and you're going to put this in metadata. So that is it. You don't need to press anything else. Now, if you want to have a look at the script, here's a link that will guide you to the actual script. So this is the script, and it's going to be run every single time you create an instance of this template. Well, that's it for management. Let's head to networking. Now, what subnet are we supposed to use for this? First of all, our network is going to be the one that we have created for this lab specifically, which is the My Internal App. Subnet, it's automatically chosen, but we need to do this whole process again for subnet B. But it's going to be very simple. I'm going to show you that in a second. Network tags, I'm going to use again our network tag that we have been using since forever. So it's the LB backend, which means load balancer backend, and we are just working on backend for now. So next thing I guess that's everything that we need to do for this template. And just click on create. It's going to initialize the template. Now also, so the lab instructions, they tell you why we are using the LB backend tag. So this is because for the rules that we created before, they need to know that, okay, this is relevant for this particular network tag that we're working on for now. So it's like putting everything in a single folder. So it's just to make things relevant. Okay, now we need to do the same process for subnet B, which is our other subnet that we are using for this lab. Now, it's a tedious process, but you know what? I'll just skip it. Click on this template and click on the More Actions button on top, and you'll get the option to copy this. So just click on copy, and it's going to copy all the details that you had put in previously. It's just going to change the name, which is going to be template 2 for now. It's going to copy everything else. You just need to change one thing, and that is the subnet, which is located under networking. So the tags are already there. We're working in My Internal App. Subnet, we're just going to change it to subnet B. Perfect. Click on create. So we are ready with both of our templates that we need to use for this lab. And we're still working on backend, by the way. We are not even, so front end comes like way later in the lab. All right, now that we have our instance templates, we're going to use both of these to create instance groups, which are the groups that are going to manage our instance variables. Oh, sorry, instance template, instances. Right, so let's go to instance groups. So we don't have any group right now, so we're just going to create a new group. Let's click on new group, scroll down a bit. Yeah, this is the section that guides you how to create the instance group. So we're going to create 2 instance group for this lab. One is going to be using template 1, which is meant for subnet A, and the other one is going to be using template 2, which is meant for subnet B. Right. Let's just copy all the details from here. Also, the name is already there for us. Don't have to change anything else. The region and zone, they're correct for now. CPU utilization, which is part of autoscaling. Now, what is autoscaling? Now, the reason we are making this load balancer is because we want to handle traffic. For example, you're using this application and it has like 10 people are accessing it, but like on a single day, you see that 100 people are going to access that. Now, there's a lot of traffic and you need to control this traffic. That's why you use a load balancer. Now, what if there's more? So you're gonna assign an auto scaling model, which is gonna take care of what if the traffic exceeds its allocated amount. So we are going to create new instances to handle this problem when we have a lot more traffic. So we're gonna tell our program to create a new instance as soon as the CPU utilization exceeds 80. So this is why we are putting in the value 80 right here. Also, the cooldown period. Cooldown period is when an instance starts and till the time it gets available for use. So the initialization time, that's going to be 45 seconds. Minimum number of instances is going to be 1, and the maximum number of instances is going to be 5. We don't want to use a lot of it, right? So that is everything. Here's like the better version of what I just said. It just explains why do we use the auto scaling. Right. So it's basically a divide and conquer approach. Like this whole idea is just a divide and conquer approach. Create, I think I missed something. Yeah, the instance template, that's the most important thing. That is what we did before. So we're gonna, since we are making this for subnet 1, subnet A, we're gonna use instance template 1. So I think everything is in place. We just hit create. This is gonna create the instance group, the first instance group that we have. It's gonna wait, it's gonna take a bit of time because like it's actually starting an instance as well. So now we need to do the same thing for subnet B using the instance template number 2. But again, here the problem is that you cannot duplicate an instance group. You cannot duplicate an instance group, so we need to create a new instance group. So let's jump right into it. So the name is already there. We just need to copy the other details that we need to put in. Now, the region is going to stay the same because, so a thing about load balancers only work in a single region. They can work in different zones. So there are actually 4 zones in US Central 1. So we're going to use a different zone for this instance group, which is our subnet B. We're going to use US Central B for US Central 1B, and we're going to use instance template number 2 for this instance group. Again, auto scaling. What if we exceed 80% CPU usage? Create a new instance, and we're gonna let it know. Scroll down, cooldown period. How much time does it take to start an instance before it's available for use? Minimum number of instances, maximum number of instances 5, and that is everything that we need to specify for the instance group. So an instance group is just like a collection of instances. It's just all the instances follow a similar pattern, which is the instance template that we made before. So that's going to be like the blueprint of an instance, and an instance group is just going to contain multiple of those instances. Perfect. Now we just click on create. We just click on create, and it's going to take a bit of time to initialize. Now, this is all we have to do for the backend. So this is what is going to handle all the traffic. Now, I mean, there's the concept of load balancer has not even come in yet. So now we are going to work on the load balancer. But before we go on to the load balancer, let's just test if these work. So let me just click on refresh and see if it's up. So as you can see, like, do you remember I put in a 45-second cooldown timer? So it says there are no instances right now, but there's going to be one, and it's currently in the cooldown period. So it's going to take 45 seconds, and this will change to 1, and this will change to a green tick. Oh, it just did. Perfect. So we have 2 instances. So we have 2 instance groups, one for subnet A, one for subnet B, and each one of these is running a single instance for now. All right, let's just scroll down a bit, and now our task is to test these, whether these work or not. So the way we can test is, do you remember I used a shell script before? So what that shell script does is it initializes the instances. So we're just going to call one of these instances and check if it's returning us the welcome page. So let's try and do that. Right, so we're going to go to VM instances. Now, we started these 2 groups, so they have created a single instance, and we can see those instances right here. Okay. And if at any point you have any questions, please let me know. Now we're going to create a new instance, which will act as the client, and we're going to do some calls and check if we are getting any result back. So create a new instance. We're not using any instance group for this. We're not using any instance templates. So this is we have to specify everything for this now. Right. So let's name it. Oh, so we have a name right here. We're just going to use this name for the instance. The region, it is already selected, US Central 1, and we're going to use different zone for this. Let's use US 1F. I'm not completely sure why we do this. We could have done this in US 1A or US 1B. We could just do it any one of them. But since we're just checking these backends, we can do it like in some other region as well. You can like select India in here as well. So you don't need to worry about that for now. But later, when we do the load balancer, we need to make sure all of it is in a single region. So selected zone, perfect. Now we need to select what this will run on, what kind of machine will this run on. So make sure you follow the lab instructions, because if you don't, it's not going to let you pass the checkpoints. You can use anything here, but I specifically want you to use what the lab says. So it's going to tell us that the series of processors that we are going to use are N1, and the machine type is F1 micro. So that is it. We don't have to change anything else here. Okay, so the last part is networking, disk security management, sole tendency. The only one thing that we need to change here, go under networking, don't change anything here. Go to network interfaces, click on open right here, the arrow button, and click on network. So it's currently default, change it to our lab app, which is the one that we have created just for this lab. And subnet, let it stay for, I think we are supposed to use subnet A for now. And the primary internal IP, it's ephemeral. Yeah, it is. We are supposed to make it ephemeral custom and specify our IP that we want it to be on. So this is the IP that the instance, that the new instance we are going to create is going to be on. Yeah. So so I've specified the IP here, and I think that is all that we need to do to create the sort of a client to check these instances, the one that we had created before. Okay, let's create this. Let me just verify if everything is correct. So again, if you have any questions regarding this, please let me know. So yeah, just click on create for now. Perfect. So it's going to take a bit of time to initialize because this is a VM instance. So let's just wait for it to initialize, and then we are going to click on check my progress, which is our second checkpoint. And let's see if we are going on the right track. So this has been created, instance is running, check progress. Looks good. We are doing everything correct till this point. Perfect. Okay, now is the part to check these instances, the one that we had created before for subnet A and subnet B. Right. So I'm going to fire up the terminal for the one that we just created, the instance that we just created, which is our client. Right. Let's wait for this to start up. Right. So now we are going to use a command which is called curl. This is going to get us the web page, the welcome page for both of these instances, which is what we had created using the shell script before. So I'm going to press enter. Oh, wow, there's something. Well, let's look at it. So it's going to tell me my IP. So this is my IP, and this is the server location that we just pinged. So this is the instance that is running from before. So it's running on US Central 1A, right? And it also tells you like which instance group it is a part of. And yeah, that is for the first one, subnet A. Now we got to test it for subnet B. There's also an example, the example output, and you can compare your output to the example output to make sure you're doing this correctly. Now we're going to use the second curl command. Just copy paste it, and it's going to give you a response. And just check with the example output if this is the same, if this is what you are expecting, and it is. So it's located on US Central B and part of the second instance group. So it is going good. All right, now this thing has a question for us. Well, let's look at it. So which of these fields identify the location of the backend? Now the backend, which is the instance groups. So the one that we are using right now is the client, so we don't need to worry about it. So let's look at what it just returned to us. So the name of the load balancing lab, your IP, so the client IP, one of the options is client IP. The client IP is just my IP. I don't think that's the location of the backend. So let's skip over that. Hostname, server hostname is instance group 2. Well, that could be used to determine the location of the backend. So let's select that, server hostname. And we have some other things here as well. So server location, region and zone is US Central 1B. I think that's also a thing we can use to locate the server. So let's just pick up both of these options and submit, and let's see if we are correct. Oh, we are. Wow. Right. Now, this is the documentation that tells you what URL is supposed to do. But as I did explain before, it's just going to get you the welcome page, which we had initiated before. So it's just going to bring that back and display the string on the console. So I'm just going to type exit because we're done with this terminal. So click on exit and we're back to our instances. These are the 3 instances that are running. Now comes the main part of this lab, which is configuring the internal load balancer. So we were just like putting all the blocks together, like the ones that you see on the bottom. We were just positioning these blocks, creating these blocks. Now we need to create a program that can manage the traffic between these 2 servers or these 2 instances. So let's see. Now we're going to go to navigation menu and scroll down, network services, load balancing. Click on load balancing. We don't have any load balancers right now, so let's just click on create load balancer, and we're going to use TCP load balancing. So start configuration. Now, there's a few questions it's going to ask you: internet facing or internal facing only. So this has to be an automatic load balancer. And if you remember from the name of the lab, it is an internal load balancer. So it's only between the VMs. And should it be multiple regions or single region? Well, I did say before, a load balancer can only work in a single region. So let's just select single region only. It's not even going to let you select multiple regions. So that's the reason it's not going to let you select. So let's click on continue. Right, now we're creating the load balancer. Let's just make it a little bigger so it's easier for you guys to see it. Right, now we're going to start configuring the load balancer. Okay, pick up a name for this. The name's right here. I'm just going to copy this, paste it right here. The region that we're using is US Central 1. This is the one that we have been using from before. Network, it is our internal application network. So now let's configure the backend. So we had created a backend. Now we just need to tell this load balancer, okay, this is the backend. This is what you're supposed to give the traffic to. So instance group. So we have 2 instance groups and we are going to add both of them. So let's select the first instance group first. Don't need to do this option because we need to use both of them together. It's not like the first one's going to run. When it's going to fail, we're going to use the second one. No, that's not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to run them both simultaneously and make sure that traffic gets divided equally between them. So click on done. We're adding the first backend and click on the second, add the second instance group to the list of backends. So done. So we have added both of the instance groups, which are serving as our backend. Now we need to create a health check. So a health check is what makes sure that everything is working as planned. So we had created firewall rules for health checks before, but we did not actually create a health check. Now you can separately create a health check. If you go to the navigation menu, it is located under compute engine and health checks. You can create it separately, but we're just going to do it as it's offering us. So let's just click on that, create a new health check. All the details for the health check has been, oh, I forgot to scroll down, sorry, my bad. But all the details for the health check are given right here. So make sure you copy this correctly. I've run into errors before because of this. So I put in all the details, I made sure that I put in the right details twice, but it still wasn't working. And the reason I don't think it was working is because I had made some issue, some error with the name. I did not copy correctly, so make sure there are no spaces or anything. So the protocol for this health check is going to be TCP, since this is a TCP load balancer, and the port that we are going to use is port number 80. The health criteria, we don't have to change it. We're just going to use the default. So what this means is right here. So it's going to do a check in every 5 seconds. It's going to check for 5 seconds, and if it gets two success returns, it's going to say, okay, this is good to go. And if it gets two unhealthy returns, it's going to say it's not good. Okay. And if you want to learn about this, this is a totally different topic because this is health checks, and we're just dealing with load balancing for now. So we put in all the details, nothing extra. Just click on save for now. So the health check is set up, and after doing the health check, after doing everything correctly, you'll see a blue tick next to the backend configuration. So which means we're heading the right direction. Let's configure our front end now. So for front end, let's see. So the front end is going to listen for all the inputs from client side, and it's going to direct. And this is what is the other part of the load balancer. So imagine there's a load balancer in the middle. And this is the front end part. This is the back end part. So the front part. The front part takes the input, gives it to the load balancer. Load balancer figures out which way to pass it, which way towards the back end it has to pass that traffic. Right. So the name is optional. We don't have to provide a name. Let's see. So the front end configuration, we're just going to set the subnetwork as subnetwork B. So you need to choose like one of the two subnets to assign the input to. But if you, for example, send any send any requests to subnet B, it's going to be automatically transferred to subnet A because of the load balancer. Right. So subnet B, we're going to select subnet B here, an IP address. We're going to create a new IP. Let's name it my ILB IP. ILB stands for internal load balancer. And the static IP address that we're going to assign this to is going to be the address for the subnet B, the subnet B address, basically. So put in the address and reserve this IP. So this is the IP that's going to listen in for the inputs that's going to come from outside. Right. What else? So we just need to specify the port, which is port number 80. It's all on the other side. This is not. I'm not doing this on my own. This is all on the other side, if you can see it. So port number 80, and that is everything that we need to specify for the front end part of this load balancer. All right, let's click on done. And let's see what all we are doing for this load balancer. I'm just going to make the screen a little bit bigger so you can see it much better. All right. So we are configuring the front end, we're configuring the back end, and these are the two instances which are going to handle the traffic. Now, load balancer is going to make is the one that's going to determine where the traffic goes to. So let's make this window a little bigger. Yeah, perfect. So review everything, create this load balancer. So now we are finally going to create the load balancer. It's going to take a bit because it is like dealing with every single thing that we have created till now. So it's dealing with all the backend, and it's making a new health check for us, which is going to check if the program works correctly or not. And it is also initializing the front end for the load balancer. Let's just wait for this to load up, and then we'll hit refresh. It's going to take a while. This is like a really heavy process. It's going to take a while. So this is our final checkpoint. And if you click this checkpoint, it's going to give you the 100% completion for this lab. Let's just wait for this. And I failed at this checkpoint actually a lot of times because of some error with the health checkup. So it just says that you did not set up the health checkup correctly. So again, I'm going to cross my fingers and click on check my progress. Just hope it works. It has been initialized, so let's just hope it works this time. Well, it did. Wow, perfect, perfect. All right, so this is it that we had to do. This is how you set up a load balancer on Google Cloud. So let me just take you from the back. So first, we created firewall rules, which are going to be useful when we create these instances and when the load balancer functions. So the firewall rules were meant for the load balancer because the load balancer needs to run health checks on itself, and it needs to take inputs from outside, the client side, basically. So we set it up the firewall rules. We set it up instance templates, which are the instances running in the backend. So we set them similarly for two different subnets. So subnet A and subnet B have instances running, and these instances are part of a group. So in a group, there are similar kind of instances which handle all the traffic. And the way new instances are created is a rule which says that if the CPU usage goes up by 80%, if CPU usage exceeds 80%, you just create a new instance to deal with this. So this is what we have done till this point. Then we tested our backend containers. We used a script which just returns the welcome page for each of these instances, and it did work. So, but what if you remember from that testing, it always, like, if you run it 10 times, it's always going to say that it's the service is running on US Central 1A. If you call that service, it's always going to say that it's running in a single zone. And if you call the other service, which is the subnet B, if you make any calls to that, it's always going to say that it's located on US Central 1B. But now that we run the load balancer will figure out whether it should give the call to subnet, the first instance, or the first subnet or the second subnet. So it's going to figure, the load balancer is going to make sure to equally distribute it. So when we run the test again, we're going to do it, like, for example, we'll do it 10 times. And the pattern to observe is that so one call is going to be, the same call is going to be registered to US Central 1A, and the next call, maybe it might register to US Central 1B. That is the point of load balancer. It distributes the traffic. It does not, like, push all the traffic onto one instance. So here's the test script again, and let's just copy the CURL command. We're going to go back to the instance, the client instance that we have created before. So it's located on the compute engine, and you got to go to VM instances. So when you go to VM instances, right, these are all the instances that are running. So this is the client instance that we have created. Now let's just start up the terminal again. So we're just going to do the testing again to make sure this works. All right, so here's the terminal. The moment of truth. I'm gonna, oh, my bad, I didn't copy it. So I'm gonna put in this command. So this is for subnet B. Since subnet B is the one that's listening for inputs, the IP for subnet B is the one that we have reserved to listen for inputs in the front end section, if you remember. So I'm gonna press enter. Let's see. So this call was made to US Central 1A. Okay. So first call was made to the US Central, the server, the container that is located in US Central 1A. Again, if I press, let's just copy this, paste it again. I'm just gonna do it like a few times and let you see what's happening. If you look closely, so I'm pasting the same request, but it's alternating between the container that is located in US Central 1A and US Central 1B. So as you can see, it's A, B, 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 and then it goes back to A, then it comes back to B, B, and then it goes back to A. So this is what the load balancer is for. It's going to figure out where to send the traffic when there's a lot of it coming in, to make sure that one of the servers does not, like, overload or crashes or anything else happens. And when, in this case, if the usage exceeds 80%, it's going to create a new instance in that instance group. So that is how you set up a load balancer, internal load balancer on your Google Cloud. And that has been today's lab. So I'm just going to close this. And this is our lab for the day. And that brings us to the end of this lab. It says, congratulations on this really nice badge. Well, okay, that is the end of the lab. And let's just go up. We still have 40 minutes left. So I'm just going to click End Lab and Submit. So we are done with this lab. Really nice lab. I'm going to rate it 5 stars. Now, just ignore the fact that it didn't start in the beginning. But okay, this was really good. And that is the end of this lab. Thank you, everyone, for watching this. It was really fun doing this. I wish I can do this again in the future. It's really amazing when you're in the main seat and you're demonstrating code to people. It's something that I've done before, but this was more interesting because it's working with the Google Cloud platform. So thank you very much for letting me do this. Thank you.
So, Avi, how many other labs have you done? How many badges have you earned?
So this was my first lab, and this lab I've done like 5 times to make sure that I'm prepared for today's session. And I'm going to start working on the other labs. I've seen the videos, but I didn't actually have the time to work on them. So I'm just going to go back, work on these labs, and yeah, that's what I have plans to do.
So, I mean, you all should join this. As you can see, the ticket at the bottom. There's a mailing list, 30 Days of Cloud at googlegroups.com. Everybody who signed up for this course, the series over the past 4 weeks, can join, ask any questions, ping each other. Especially we get questions about, hey, I can't get the code to work. What's the new code? Welcome to do that. And Avi, you should share this with your community, but put a caveat when you share the video saying we did run into some technical issues, so they can skip ahead to watch the lab. And encourage them to complete the labs, as many labs as they can, and earn as many badges as they can. For every student who earns a badge, your club is going to get some funds, and the top badge earners are also going to get some goodies from us, including some one-on-ones with some of our Googlers. So keep that in mind. That being said, I'm going to play what we're going to do. Tomorrow is going to be our last event, our very last session. It's going to be data and ML and AI. So I'm going to play that clip, and I'll see you all tomorrow for one last time. And Avi, thank you so much. I know we had some issues in the beginning, but it's part of learning. And have a good night for you all.
Hi, welcome to You Have Data, but what are you going to do with it? I'm Evan, a technical curriculum developer here at Google. And in this module, you learn how you can gain insight through data using managed big data services. So far in this Google Cloud Computing Foundations course, you've discussed what cloud computing is, the Google Cloud Platform, and using GCP to build apps. You then explored storage options, the role of APIs, cloud security, networking, and the role GCP can play in automating the creation and management of your GCP resources. In this module, you look at some of the managed services that Google offers to process your big data. The objective of this module is for you to discover a variety of managed big data services in the cloud. The specific learning objectives to achieve this include you being able to discuss big data managed services available in the cloud, describe the use of Cloud Dataproc to run Spark, Hive, Pig, and MapReduce as a managed service, explain the building of extract, transform, and load pipelines using Cloud Dataflow, and discuss Bigquery as a managed data warehouse and analytics engine. This agenda shows the topics that make up the module. The module starts with an introduction to big data managed services in the cloud, before moving on to how big data operations can be leveraged through Cloud Dataproc. You'll then complete 2 labs where you use the GCP console and then the gcloud command line tool to create a Cloud Dataproc cluster and perform various tasks. After the labs, you'll explore the use of Cloud Dataflow to perform extract, transform, and load operations. The next 2 labs provide an opportunity to learn more about Cloud Dataflow. In the first, you'll create a streaming pipeline using a Cloud Dataflow template. And in the second, you'll set up a Python development environment, get the Cloud Dataflow SDK for Python, and run an example pipeline using the GCP console. In the final topic, you learn about the role of Bigquery as a data warehouse. You'll complete the module with a short quiz and a review of the main learning points of the module.